parables that grow on you. A lot of parables in the Bible. Have you ever looked up for a list of what they are? I started going through some. I ran out on the page even though I spread them out. But the ones I'm going to concentrate are more growing related ones. And the reason why that is, well, one of the reasons why is because we're very blessed to live on 10 acres with 2,000 or 3,000 gum trees and lots of growth. So, and I go for a walk every morning and night with my dog, and I'm quite inspired by what I see, what I try to do. So this year with all this rain, we've seen quite a bit of different stuff happening out in our area because we don't have a lot of topsoil out there, and so there's some melaleuca that's flowering. You see that once every 5 or 6 years. It's Geraldine wax, I think. But it's on the end of it that was a lot more prolific. By the time I got excited about taking photos, it was all down. And some of the gum trees that are just absolutely amazing. We also see a bit of funny stuff, and this is just out here in the front, where these agapanthus, and I was talking to Dorothy a couple of weeks ago about this, seeing some of this stuff that, what are they doing? Are they having life too good? They don't know which way to grow. Anyway, the other thing, and this message I've done 3 or 4 years ago, and it was prompted by a question by one of the youth. And if you ever want to be challenged, hang out with a heap of youth. And it was Nicole Filkey, actually, who's now shot through to Queensland. And she came up to me and said, "Ivan, where is your faith at?" And I went, "Well, what do you mean?" "Well, you're doing all this stuff all around the place, but where is your faith at?" I thought, wow, this is really cool that this young person is interested in where I am with my faith, not whether I'm doing this, that, or anything else. So we're gonna unpack that a bit through the experiences I had with parables and the growing that I experienced out of my place. And about that same time, this is a probably 70, 80-year-old gum tree, about 20 metres from our house. 30 metres high, just up and died, just like that, 3 months. What's going on here? And so, with Nicole's words in the back of my mind, that's where we are. I've missed a couple of slides. Okay. That death of that tree prompted me to get very excited too. Because I thought, if I'm going to lose 70, 80 years of growth, what's going to happen if I lose one every year? So I got studious and drilled about 300 holes and carted in 28 tonne of soil and put 300 or 400 trees in. Because we don't have any topsoil. So that's on the edge of one area that we, if we don't keep spending money on race cars and overseas trips, we might put a tennis court in. And I also dug up some self-sown stuff around the place, and that's a couple of little gum trees that we're actually putting in as well. So why parables? Why do you think Jesus spoke in parables? So I thought we'd go to some scripture to see what that says. So Andrew, when you're ready, from Matthew.
Right, first reading. The disciples came to him and asked, "Why do you speak to the people in parables?" He replied, "The knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. Those who have will be given more, and they will have an abundance. As for those who do not have, even what they have will be taken from them. This is why I speak to them in parables. Through seeing, they do not see. Though hearing, they do not hear or understand. In them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah. You will be ever hearing, but never understanding. You will be ever seeing, but never perceiving. For this people's heart has become calloused. They hardly hear with their ears, and they have closed their eyes. Otherwise they might see with their eyes, hear with their ears, understand with their hearts, and turn, and I would heal them. But blessed are your eyes because they see, and your ears because they hear. Truly I tell you, many prophets and righteous people long to see what you see, but did not see it, and to hear what you hear, but did not hear it."
Now, I read that about 4 times and went back and forth and go, what is going on here? You know, we were asking why parables were given to us to actually make things easier for us. And then I read the explanation that Jesus gave and I'm totally confused by that sort of thing. But to try and unpack that, I guess it's, even though it was written for the people of the day, where it was more hand to mouth and their living existence, it's still very true for us in nowadays, in this modern world. And we can accept these things that we hear and what we see, but don't necessarily let them sink in and get to us. So, let's start with the first one, just the first part. Matthew, thanks.
Then he told them many things in parables, saying, a farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places, where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly, because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seeds fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop, 160 or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear.
Thanks, Andrew. Most of us have heard that before, I would imagine. We don't need the explanation, but some of the things that I've tried to dig up from our place. There's this little native plant just outside, not far from our front door too. We've been there 16, 17 years now, and that thing is the same size as it's been since we got there. Hasn't grown. I even got 2 drippers on it now, and it's still the size of your hand. Has not moved. Don't know why. Weeded around it, see a good crop of soursobs there. Obviously winter, but this tennis court area, it's a bit hard to see, but you might be able to finally see just those little stringly things. These are some self-sown oaks that are trying to grow on my proposed tennis court. And obviously lots of rubble there, no soil. They get a bit of growth, and they don't die not that long after. And even on the sides of the road is a native Banksia, I think. This is along one of the drains along the side of the place. They tend to spring up, but they get choked off by stuff, and they can't grow any further. And people take them out with the cars when they go past as well. So other obstacles in the way. The next one, weeds.
This one, the first part again, Ivan?
Yes, thanks.
Yep. Jesus told them another parable. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who sowed good seed in his field. But while everyone was sleeping, his enemy came and sowed weeds among the wheat and went away. When the wheat sprouted and formed heads, then the weeds also appeared. The owner's servants came to him and said, Sir, didn't you sow good seed in your field? Where then did the weeds come from? An enemy did this, he replied. The servants asked him, Do you want us to go and pull them up? No, he answered, because while you are pulling the weeds, you may uproot the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest. At that time I will tell the harvesters, first collect the weeds and tie them in bundles to be burned. Then gather the wheat and bring it into my barn.
Well, we have at our place, lots of the gum trees, we have lots of mistletoe as well. And spent quite a bit of time and money cutting it all out. But mistletoe is a parasite, beautiful looking thing that grows nice and green and it hangs off the trees. But as you can see, it eventually chews away and kills the gum trees. And, you know, given that our trees aren't very short, they're a little bit messy to try and clean up. So we need to cut them down, but the regrowth that we have from them is absolutely amazing. Okay, thanks, Andrew. The next one.
Then he told this parable. A man had a fig tree growing in his vineyard, and he went to look for fruit on it, but did not find any. So he said to the man who took care of the vineyard, For 3 years now I have been coming to look for fruit on this fig tree, and haven't found any. Cut it down. Why should it use up the soil? Sir, the man replied, leave it alone for 1 more year, and I'll dig around it and fertilise it. If it bears fruit next year, fine. If not, then cut it down.
Down our boundary a few years ago when I upgraded our fire systems, I got a man in with an excavator. He dug a new trench down and put a new pipe in. Unfortunately, and this tends to happen with machinery operators, he dug up all my existing piping as well, so I had to put in 2 pipes and not 1. But the regeneration after that was just amazing. We have this big line of gum trees that have been dug up from the soil all the way down the boundary line, all along the pipeline. Something you wouldn't ever expect, but that's what has happened. I'll share with you a little story, and I like sharing stories. When I was a young person up in Wynnum, some of you have heard this before, and that's back in the days where we had slug guns or air rifles or whatever, and you could walk around your own property with a gun without getting into trouble too much. But anyway, as kids, we were a bit bored, and this afternoon, my brother and I, and he was always, as you guys know, was always a fairly awkward influence on me, always getting me into trouble. There was this locust tree down the back. We had a little bit of room there at Waikerie, and it never ever bore any fruit. And we were talking about that, so we had our slug guns, and for the next 3 or 4 hours, we shot off every leaf on this locust tree. Even run out of slugs, had to ride into town to get more slugs to come back and shoot to finish off the job. So, as usual, I got into trouble again. Didn't get dragged into church council meeting that time. But the amazing thing was, the next year, man, fruit and leaves and everywhere. It was absolutely amazing, and vindicated sitting in the front while I was a pastor's kid that one week following that. So sometimes we need to have everything in our life shot to pieces for us to show where we can bear our fruit. A little picture, and this might be a bit too close to home for some of us here, for the recent fires at Samson Flat, which, well, you know, only come to within a K of our place. We could see the flames, so we were pretty well off, but the Friedrichs obviously didn't do very well. We have a lot of xanthorrhoea, the grass trees, yuccas, whatever you want to call them. I always love they're the first things that come out after a fire. So there's this salvation in the midst of death. And I think those sorts of pictures are a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, where are you with your faith? Is it something you think about? There's a scale that you should put yourself on. You get to this point. Is it something that you need to reevaluate daily? You need to ask for support? Do we need the Spirit to come in and fill us up every now and again? Is there a level that we're supposed to try and get to? Or is it something that you could keep in your heart and keep working on? So, do you think you're too insignificant, maybe? Maybe you don't know which way to grow. And there's lemon-scented ones, they always grow in different angles. Maybe your lifestyle's killing you. Maybe your faith has just died. Or you're just changing the direction every time you fall down and growing in a different direction. Maybe you just need someone to grow with. Thanks, Andrew. Last reading.
I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, or every branch that does bear fruit he prunes, so that it can be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Now remain in my love. If you keep my commands, you will remain in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commands and remain in his love. I have told you this, so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete. My command is this: love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because servants do not know their master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you so you might go and bear fruit, fruit that will last, and so that whatever you ask in my name, the Father will give you. This is my command: love each other.
There's a lot in that passage, isn't there? And obviously that's the basis of our logo, I guess we call it, knowing, growing and showing. And, you know, God chose us to grow. He prunes us so that we can bear fruit. Let's see what's happened. Whoops. This is the area that we planted 2 years ago, and that's what's happening on that side now. I thought I'd give some before and after shots, just so you can see what happens when things are supported. And and for our own faith, if we show steadfast love and stick to our faith in Jesus, and we get the support of the Spirit, how we can bear our fruit. This is the tree with the mistletoe. It's growing so much now, it's actually in the way of our internet feed for our WiMAX, and so it's a bit of a problem for us now. But being pruned can also have its benefits as well. And that isn't the same gum tree, but this big dead tree which I pruned down now can be prolific once again. And the last one I guess I wanted to share hasn't grown that big with the pines, but it's a little seedling that we've got, and that's one of the big ones at our entrance. So we've got this opportunity to grow as big, and it's great. So where are you with your faith? I challenge you to search yourselves. Ask your partner, ask your friends. We'll go back. We'll just pray. Dear Lord, we thank you for this amazing love that you've given us in Jesus, and the grace and his sacrifice on the cross. Help us to grow our faith in you. Help us to see where we're at with you, to be nurtured by your love, to be supported by the Spirit, and to be open to bearing fruit for everyone. In your holy name, amen.